Hi friends, this is your friend Dr. Sujata Naik. Welcoming all of you on our own group known as the Homeo Insights. I welcome each and every person who is a keen learner of homeopathy, wants to spread homeopathy and wants to interact with like-minded homeopaths. I really look forward to your active interaction, your active participation, where you can share in your opinions, your ideas and your experiences regarding your clinical practice or your cases or maybe your research. Today I take this opportunity to share a problem with a lot of people approach a homeopath for, and that is insomnia. Insomnia is becoming a common problem these days in the millennial generation. It's a very huge problem, mainly now related to lifestyle. To put it in a nutshell, insomnia can be divided into two very broad classifications, and one is the primary insomnia and two is the secondary insomnia. The primary insomnia is generally out of people for no cause, for no reason, people are not able to fall asleep. Some persons who are always high strung, irritable, or on the edge, they are not able to fall asleep, or some people with excess of anxiety, little amount of depression or low feeling, or certain lifestyle induced issues which lead to insomnia. So these are the primary causes, and the secondary causes of insomnia are generally a medical disorder which is predisposing. For example, heart and lung issues, or following a surgery, so post-operative insomnia, or sometimes drug-induced, or certain metabolic disorders which also cause insomnia. So we will not deal with that today, because we will need to get to the underlying cause first, and then the insomnia, which is a natural corollary which gets treated in the process. But today we'll talk about primary insomnia and which are the homeopathic remedies which generally help in such cases. Generally, I have seen that, if you look at it, homeopathy being a highly individualistic science, and we have more than 3,000 remedies, and every remedy can be applied to a case of insomnia if it is constitutionally indicated. Having said that, whenever you approach a case of insomnia, there are certain remedies which always come up, and I'm going to discuss those with you. Just give you in a nutshell, this might help people who are just into their practice recently, to students who want to learn about this, or maybe even in day-to-day practice we encounter these cases, and this is a little from my experience as well. So the remedies which always come up, one is argentum nitricum, which I would say is the king of insomnia. So highly strung individuals, always on the edge, the go-getters, the achievers, want to come first everywhere, and in their quest for perfection, they always end up being anxious, always end up being nervous, always end up being restless. Restlessness is the key to argentum nitricum. So a person who wants to give an interview the next day, an executive interview, or maybe a viva, or maybe an examination, and they are just not able to fall asleep out of that anticipatory anxiety. Remember, the argentum nitricum patient will always wake up before the alarm goes off. This is one of the key symptoms of argentum. The next remedy is arsenic album. We all know that arsenic album is one of our greatest polycrests, and again it is one of our very useful remedies for both primary and secondary insomnia. Secondary, we know that it is the king of anti-asthmatics as well. But even in primary insomnia, where the patient is restless, fearful, anxious, there is a fear of death, fear of something terrible going to happen, and the arsenic album patient generally can fall asleep during the day. It is during the night that he has maximum aggravation. So he is not able to fall asleep at night. And that fearful and anxious and restless nature is the key to an arsenic album prescription. Extremely chilly is one of the major modalities as well. The third remedy that we would think of in insomnia, again the chief remedy which would come up is opium. Opium is one of our most wonderful remedies for insomnia, one of our most remedies for hypersomnia as well, and excessive sleepiness. In fact, sleepiness and sleeplessness often alternate in opium. Generally, an opium patient will come with some history of an emotional shock, some kind of a frightful situation, a fearful situation, and the memory of that particular experience stays with the opium patient, and then they are not able to fall asleep because they keep recounting that frightful or the horrifying experience. So ailments from fright and fear of fright still remaining is one of the rubrics that would characterize opium, and that's the only remedy under this rubric. So opium, when patient is not able to fall asleep, although opium is also meant for highly stuporous states. So in coma, opium becomes one of the remedies. But here in insomnia, what happens is that this is following that particular shock. So he seems very apathetic, but when it comes to sleep, he's not able to fall asleep. So they may be dull and drowsy otherwise, but they are just not able to fall asleep. And the next remedy you would think of is, guess right, that is coffee. We know that when you have a cup of coffee at night, post dinner, a strong cup of coffee, and then it will set adrenaline running and we are not able to sleep. So similarly, coffee is indicate for highly excitable, highly on edge people who are wide awake absolutely. There's just no trace of sleeplessness. You may even find the pupils dilated. They're that kind of a high they have. And it's not necessary that a coffee patient should have had coffee. See, this is the beauty of homeopathy. Homeopathy treats something as if a patient has had so much of coffee and is not able to sleep. That is the state of coffee. So he'll say that it feels that I had so much of tea, I've not had anything, but I'm not able to sleep because I'm completely like absolutely awake. So this is coffee for you. So you can give coffee when a patient complains of sleeplessness with heightened awareness, with heightened agility, with a lot of alertness. That is the key to coffee. So if you treat a patient who has had coffee, with coffee it will not work because that would be an allopathic prescription. But a patient who has not even had coffee or any stimulant and yet complains of sleeplessness as though he has had something like that would be the similimum, would be the perfect homeopathic prescription. The next remedy would be Nux vomica. Nux vomica, you cannot give Nux vomica in a very calm patient. You know that highly irritable people, the typical, the high-flying executive who's had a hard day at work, shouting at his inferiors, not getting his work done, being the perfectionist that he is, and then he goes to the bar, has a couple of pegs of alcohol and comes home very irritable, tired, and sleepy at that time, sleepy in the evening, but when he comes home and he actually wants to get into bed, he can't sleep. That is Nux vomica, highly irritable state, does not sleep, has a disturbed, very fitful sleep, gets up in the morning, morose, irritable, shouting at everyone again, and that's how the cycle continues with Nux vomica. The next remedy which comes just behind Nux vomica is chamomilla. Chamomilla again is one of the most irritable remedies in materia medica. But chamomilla is also very restless, very impatient, very hurried, very heightened sensitivity is there in chamomilla, very angry. Anger at the peak is chamomilla. If you had to differentiate between Nux vomica insomnia and chamomilla insomnia, I would say that Nux vomica is more irritable following the insomnia. Chamomilla is sleepless because chamomilla is irritable. So would be there's a slight difference there. So chamomilla cannot be given and it's typically in a child who does not fall asleep for some reason, irritable, cranky, throwing up a tantrum, impatient, keeps the parents up whole night. Give a dose of chamomilla and see the difference. So it's very useful in this kind of insomnia, very functional kind of insomnia. Cocculus is one more remedy. Now cocculus is a remedy which is more out of night watching. A woman typically tending to the household chores and looking after her parents-in-law, looking after her husband, somebody sick in the family, nursing even her sick children. And day in and day out she's working and not able to fall, not getting enough sleep at night. So the results of long deprivation of sleep leading to then sleeplessness is cocculus. So they've just been used to that sleeplessness, and now when they get the opportunity to sleep, they are not able to fall asleep. The next remedy is Califos, again one of the most calming remedies of materia medica, and we know that brain fag and excess brain exhaustion and a lot of mental activity, and the patient is a little high strung. So Califos generally has an extremely calming influence, and that again is one of our main remedies, and it's a very safe remedy to give after the constitutional remedy is over and the little nagging insomnia is left. You can just keep the patient on Califos for some time. And of course then the specific remedy for insomnia is Passiflora. Passiflora is again a very stuporous, very drowsy patient during the day, and for no reason, when all the other remedies fail, when you think that you've tried chamomilla and then you've tried opium, and where opium fails, Passiflora may actually come in. Although because it's not such a well proven remedy and it's so specific, I really don't use it. I would rather treat the underlying cause, rather treat the predisposition of the patient with his constitutional dose than give passiflora as a specific. Nevertheless, it is one of the remedies in our insomnia list. But again, friends, remember that there is just no substitute to constitutional prescribing. So unless each of these remedies is indicated homeopathically, giving them as a specific for insomnia without their prime indications is, you're going to just fall flat. You're not going to give the patient any kind of relief. So cheers to a good night's sleep this weekend. Have a great time and see you again very soon next week. Bye-bye.